Do you know what I'll do? I know Gerard, see my speech I wanted to come after the documentary, yeah? And I've got something that I want to play as well to say a thank you to someone, so they're rendering it. The main point as well, when you see a movement, which is what this is, it's a movement. That movement must be politicised. It has to be politicised. The politicians will not care. None of them will care until they start seeing us take their seats. Now, there's only one politician that I've listened to, that I respect, and that I'd vote for. And that's Gerard Batten. He showed real leadership under pressure recently, but... Gerard, I'll let you go.
Hello everybody. Great turnout. Now I have to be careful of the people that I associate with. Now what I want to make sure today are that there are no bald-headed tattooed thugs in it. So can you all put your hand up? Are there any baldies? There's quite a few. Anybody got a tattoo? Quite a lot. Any thugs? You were supposed to say no at that last bit. Well, I'm here now, so I better do it. First of all, I've seen the film, or at least I've seen a version of the film that Tommy's putting together. I've seen a version of the film that Tommy's putting together, and it's pretty shocking stuff. And I'm very sorry to be here today. I'm very sorry that there's any need to be here today. Now, as you can guess by looking at me, I'm pretty old now. And as a young kid growing up in a working class area of London, I got a lot of my education from the BBC. I used to watch all kinds of programmes, nature programmes, art programmes. You remember documentaries like Civilization? You remember you used to get classical music on the third programme, you're all too young to remember that. And I used to love the stuff that I got on the BBC. It was a window to the world, and I was very grateful for it. Got all kinds of things coming into my world that I wouldn't otherwise get if it hadn't been for the BBC. But I'm afraid that it's not the case anymore. Now, I also started watching news and current affairs when I was about 10 years old, and that's 55 years ago. And I was an avid watcher of news and current affairs. We had the Cold War in those days. It was more interesting, if more dangerous than today. And not just the BBC, but we had the ITV as well. We had 2 channels, then we got 3 with BBC 2. And I have to say to you now, most of the news and current affairs on the mainstream media is unwatchable and unlistenable. And the thing that's really brought that home to everybody in the last 2 years and 8 months has been the mainstream media's coverage of Brexit. It has been an unrelenting black propaganda campaign against leaving the European Union. And I think lots of people now have just switched off. They don't watch the BBC, or it is just for the news headlines like me. They don't watch ITV, Sky, they certainly don't watch Channel 4. And they are getting their information from alternative sources. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Not always reliable, but you have to take the responsibility for deciding what you believe and what you don't believe. And as I say, most people now are not prepared to accept a diet of propaganda. And what is the agenda that the mainstream media promote? They are anti-Brexit, pro-European Union. They are pro-mass, uncontrolled immigration. And they are pro a politically correct social engineering program that is going out over all walks of life. And anyone who disagrees has to be marginalised and attacked, which brings me to why I'm here today. And you may have seen recently that I was featured in a Daily Mail. The Daily Mail, of course, is a newspaper that's main agenda is always vote Tory. Whatever happens for the period of a parliament, however bad the Tories perform, when you get to the end of that term, it's always vote Tory. It wouldn't matter who was running the Tory party. It could be Pol Pot for all they care, but it's vote Tory. And they decided they didn't like what I was saying, so they has to attack me. So what did they do? They sent a so-called journalist 200 miles north of Manila, thousands of miles away, so they could interrogate my wife's family to see what they could dig up on me or her and put it in their filthy rag of a newspaper.